Oh, motherfucker, you are hard to look at.
Like a testicle with teeth.
You look like Freddy Krueger face-fucked a topographical map of Utah.
Exactly.
You are haunting. You look like an avocado had sex with an older avocado.
Thank you.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So I wanted to do a Deadpool Q&A just because everyone's still going so crazy about the trailer. It's amazing the polarizing reaction between what's going on with Fantastic Four and what's going on with Deadpool. And I will be doing a Fantastic Four video, but not till tomorrow. So here we go, let's talk about some tacos. First question, Godless Nerd asks, does anyone know what's up with the two trailers? Are they going to release a censored version of the film? No, there'll be one version of the film in theaters. It'll be R-rated. Ryan Reynolds was just teasing everyone when he said it was going to be PG-13. That was supposedly some April Fool's Day joke. The reason for the censored version of the trailer, like the two different versions, there's the red band, just consider that like the normal trailer. But because of the content in it, because of like the graphic stuff they have in it, they can only show it during certain times of the day, in certain markets, and in certain platforms. This is just in America, but like, if they want to show it to the widest possible audience, they just have to make it less graphic. So that's what the censored version is for. I know it sounds weird, it doesn't make sense. Movie ratings don't make any kind of sense. Next question, Ahmed asks, is Deadpool immortal since he can heal instantly? Well, he's functionally immortal, so yes, he's immortal, but there's like an asterisk. It depends on the way you explain immortality. Apocalypse is another example of an immortal mutant, but his ability is biological. Deadpool got his through the Weapon X program. And despite all that, they can still be killed. Like Wolverine could still lose his healing factor. They did a big storyline in the comics called Death of Wolverine. So when we say Deadpool is immortal, we say pretty much immortal. In order for someone to be like absolutely immortal, I would say they'd be on like god level powers. Like even Galactus and Franklin Richards can be killed, and they're two of the most powerful beings in the multiverse. Next question, Gabriel asks, will Cable or Domino have a cameo? I don't think that Cable is in the movie. Nothing that I have heard about the movie, no spoilers, nothing says anything about Cable being present. Easter eggs, maybe. There might be some funny jokes about Cable. Domino, I do believe, has a small part in the film. We've really only seen the main cast, but there are a ton of other people from the comics in the film in like really small ways. So just keep your eyes peeled for Easter eggs and cameos, Domino being one of those. Next question, Brian asks, so is he supposed to be the same movie Wade Wilson he was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, but in an alternate post Days of Future Past timeline? So you're saying like, how has Days of Future Past affected the Wolverine Origins Deadpool? Just assume that did not exist. Assume it didn't happen. That was one of the backdoor benefits of Days of Future Past. It killed X-Men 3, like the third X-Men film that Bryan Singer did not work on, and Wolverine Origins. So if you want to get technical, just consider that Wade Wilson an alternate timeline. This one is now the main one. Consider the Deadpool movie to be mainstream continuity with the X-Men films. Next question, Lou Rick asks, do you think an X-Force spinoff would be possible? Yeah, there's one in development. I think they put it on hold because they're doing the Deadpool movie. I think they're still trying to work out an X-Force script. I think it's still in that stage of development. They have everything under Marvel's X banner, so of course they're going to do X-Force at some point. And Deadpool being a huge X-Force character in the comics, it only makes sense that they would try to bring those together at some point. That being said, depending on the success of Deadpool, I think that we won't see X-Force for a little while longer, but they definitely want to make that movie. Next question, Sax Ops asks, I thought that Deadpool was supposed to break the fourth wall. He did it in the teaser trailer, why didn't he do it in the main trailer? Yeah, I think they either hadn't finished the scenes from the rest of the movie that they wanted to use in the trailer with him breaking the fourth wall, or they felt like it just didn't work in the scenes that they were going to include in the trailer already. The main purpose of the trailer is really to sell the film to people who don't understand who Deadpool is. Like, who is Deadpool? Why is he so awesome? Why should I go see this movie? So having him break the fourth wall in the trailer probably would have just been confusing, like if you didn't understand that that's what Deadpool already does. I think they just wanted to play it safe and not make it super confusing for non-comic book people. Next question, Innie asks, do you think that we'll ever see any Spider-Man and Deadpool crossovers? I would say not anytime soon. I think that there were people that would love to do that at the studios, but it took Marvel forever to make that arrangement with Sony. Most of the time, like these big studio crossovers, just depend on the success of individual franchises. Like if Deadpool is super successful on his own, just with the characters that Fox owns, then they won't have any incentive to try and go after Marvel or Sony characters. So pending years of negotiations with like teams and teams of lawyers behind the scenes, don't plan on any Spider-Man in a Deadpool movie. But he could make like Spider-Man jokes, like in an offhanded way. Like the way they did in Ant-Man. They talked about a dude crawling up walls, and that line was actually in the Ant-Man movie before Marvel and Sony made their arrangement. So if Marvel can get away with that, then Deadpool could probably get away with that too. Next question, Kenny asks, is Ajax being played by the initial Dario? Yeah, that is the first Dario. I actually was not a fan of his. If you don't watch Game of Thrones, it's just, he played a character on Game of Thrones that was later recast, but it had nothing to do with the way they felt about him. He joined another project and there was a scheduling conflict, so they had to recast the role. He really didn't even speak that much. Next question, Count Spagula asks, do you think if this film is successful, then Fox and Hugh Jackman could do an R-rated cut of their next Wolverine film? Like okay, you're talking Old Man Logan. It's super graphic comic book storyline. I mean, it's hardcore. No, I think that any movie that Hugh Jackman does is going to be sold to the widest audience possible, and they can't do that if it's rated R. I think it might be a little more hardcore, like a harder PG-13. But yeah, there's just like some things that you're probably never going to see Hugh Jackman do on screen. That being said, Old Man Logan is probably the storyline they're going to go with, but it won't be like a literal adaptation. They'll just use the framework and some of the themes from Old Man Logan in the comics to do the story of the movie. And as for releasing like 2 different cuts of the movie, I mean, even though that's an interesting thought, no, I don't think that they would want to dilute ticket sales of like any one cut of the film, so it'll be like one cut in theaters. The only time you see studios release different cuts at the same time, it's for international releases. Like China, for instance, has very, very strict rules about what kind of movies they'll allow in the country. And it's $1 billion market. So it's just like a giant cash cow for studios. So if the Chinese government wants them to, studios will recut films in any way necessary to get their film into China. But that's like the one exception. Next question, Sebastian asks, what other than him knowing he's in a comic makes him amazing to you? You're saying like, what's awesome about Deadpool? I would say most of all, he was self-referential before it was cool to do that. Like nowadays, it's really common to see people break the fourth wall, make really meta jokes about things that are happening in the fandom, comment on the ridiculous nature of narratives inside stories. Deadpool was one of the first big comic book characters to do that in like a really big, overt way. And beyond that, on a smaller level, he's one of the most supernatural characters in Marvel comics, or comics in general. And when I say supernatural, I'm not talking about his powers. I'm talking about the way the narrative presents him. There's certain things the characters can't get away with. They understand that. Deadpool, though, is not bound by that. His super state in the narrative allows him to do pretty much anything that you could possibly imagine. He was created as this character that just doesn't give a crap about anybody's agenda, and therefore became the character that would say the unsayable things. He's like the personification of a meme, so he's pure comedy, but at the same time, he's grounded in like crazy, crazy violence. Thank you so much, everyone, for submitting questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. I feel like right now, Deadpool is so interesting to talk about. I could go all day. Let me know if any of you signed up for Marvel Unlimited to read all like the Deadpool back issues since you've seen the trailer. I know a lot of you guys already subscribe to Marvel Unlimited. It's just like their bulk comic subscription model where you can read a bunch of their old stuff. So in related news, I know I said I'm seeing Fantastic Four tonight. I'll do a non-spoilery review first, then I'll do an Easter egg video. For the most part, what I've been hearing is like the first 2/3 of the film is fine, like completely fine, totally normal comic book movie, totally enjoyable. It's like the last big act of the film, like the last third, that just kind of falls apart a little bit. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll try to provide some more context whenever I post my review video. Really, I think the worst complaint that I've heard about the film is that it wastes some of the actors' talents. Like the actor that plays Doctor Doom, Toby Kebbell, is a great actor, and I hear the film wastes a lot of him. But that's really true of a lot of films. On the flip side of that in the Marvel Universe, if you've watched Daredevil, think about the way they developed the Kingpin character. He was as much a main character as Daredevil was. Like they almost shared the same amount of screen time. So we'll see. Even if the movie's not great, I'd still go see it. I still love seeing movies that are bad. But either way, there's like a whole lot of like behind the scenes drama with Fantastic Four, the actual making of the movie, that I'll try and talk about during my review video. It is completely fascinating. So while you guys wait for all that stuff to post, you can click here to watch the Deadpool Red Band trailer again, and you can click here to learn all about Vandal Savage's history in the comics. He's going to be coming onto The Flash Season 2, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.